WBUR Podcasts, Boston.
I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and you're listening to The Common. Zeninjor and Enwemeka, welcome to The Common.
Hey, Daryl. Good to be here.
Oh, so great to have you. So, Zeninjor, we got you in here because, A, you are a WBUR senior business reporter. And
emphasis on the senior.
That's right. Put some respect on your name. You're here because you just did a story about one of my favorite things in the world, free money. Free money.
Yeah, free money.
But seriously, what we're talking about is a guaranteed basic income program in Cambridge called Rise Up Cambridge, right? And this is a program starting in June where some families can receive $500 a month, no strings attached. So, Zeninjor, please tell us about this program.
Yeah, we are talking about free money. The city of Cambridge launched this guaranteed income program. It's an expansion of a previous pilot program that they ran. And what the city is going to start doing is giving low-income families $500 a month, as you mentioned. Mm-hmm. And the families that qualify will be families who earn at or below the federal poverty level. And it includes families with children under the age of 21. So that's an interesting detail as well. Mm-hmm. And this new program will run for 18 months. You know, unlike other similar programs, this one is going to give people money via direct deposit. So it'll go directly into their accounts.
Yeah, you mentioned the pilot program Cambridge ran before. What did they learn from that program?
Yeah, so that pilot program was very interesting. It's different than the newer program. So when the city ran the pilot in 2021, they targeted single caretaker households. So they had about 130 single caretaker households that were getting the monthly $500 payments. And they learned quite a bit. People were spending the money on basic needs, food, covering bills. And when I talked to the Mayor of Cambridge, Sumbul Siddiqui, she said that people were really able to cover all kinds of expenses, particularly unexpected expenses, things that just kind of came up.
We think about the various examples we've had already in our country about what a guaranteed income is. The premise is that we know cash and direct assistance can allow individuals to, really respond quickly to their family's needs.
I'm always reminded whenever I'm talking about basic income programs, it's like, yeah, the way to solve poverty is just give people money.
Yeah, just give people money.
Yeah, it's as simple as that,
Right.
Another thing that piques my interest about this particular program is that it's in Cambridge. And when I think of Cambridge, I think of like Harvard and MIT and, this like money pot in New England. Can you tell me who am I missing when I'm thinking of that? And what are their needs that the city is trying to address here?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually live in Cambridge, and the part of Cambridge that I live in, just as you mentioned, in one direction, MIT. In another direction, Harvard. You have the biotech capital of the world. So you have a lot of wealth, a lot of money in Cambridge, high cost of living, very expensive place to live. Mm-hmm. And that is the image of Cambridge. But there's so many other people in Cambridge, other families in Cambridge who are more moderate income, low income as well, service workers who live in the city. And, that was one of the things that I, talked about with the mayor of Cambridge in, discussing this program of how many families do you expect to reach? And she told me that they expect to reach around 2,000 families that would, fit the qualifications of this guaranteed income program. This is an expansion of a pilot program. And so I know that the city plans to, with this next iteration, this next wave, plans to, partner with some researchers or, study this, gather more information, more data, see how things go. And I know they hope to make this more permanent or look for ways to continue expanding this program.
What are the haters saying? These programs,
The haters.
they bring out some folks. Are there any vocal critics of Rise Up Cambridge? What do they have to say about it?
People who push back against these types of programs, they say, you're giving people money, it's going to make them not want to work, that, these types of payments, direct payments, we already have existing social programs. Doing this will, somehow negatively impact those existing programs. But it's interesting, we've seen several pilots. I mean, we were just talking about City of Cambridge has already piloted this. Across the country, there have been pilots going on for years now, and a lot of research has been done. And the research just doesn't back up a lot of the criticism that comes with these types of programs. People aren't quitting their jobs. I mean, think about it. City of Cambridge is giving people $500 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Would you quit your job for $500 a month?
Hell no. Yep.
Rent is high, bills are high, there's a lot of expenses. If you really think about it, $500 in most major cities a month is not enough money to quit your job. And what the research has found is that people are mostly spending money on basic needs, particularly food, which I think is so interesting because it just shows how much food insecurity there is.
Yeah.
And then the research shows that these programs don't actually impact other existing social programs. If anything, a lot of the cities, and this was something the mayor of Cambridge said as well, it has two really big benefits for cities. So one, it actually allows cities to reach more people who maybe don't qualify for existing social programs, or people who, maybe because of various things, there's a lot of paperwork, a lot of people find red tape, a lot of people just get discouraged and dissuaded and have a hard time navigating some of the existing social programs. Guaranteed income programs, from a city perspective, they feel it gives them just more flexibility and more ability to reach people. And then it gives the people who are receiving the money way more flexibility in how they spend their money, because some of those existing social programs have a lot of parameters, rules, certain brands, things you can't buy, things you can't do. And this is just straight up money. And again, we find that they're using it for basic needs.
We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back.
Politics has never been stranger or more online, which is why the politics team at Wired is making a new show, Wired Politics Lab. It's all about how to navigate the endless stream of news and information and what to look out for. Each week on the show, we'll dig into far-right platforms, AI chatbots, influencer campaigns, and so much more. Wired Politics Lab launches Thursday, April 11th. Follow the show wherever you get your podcasts.
And we're back. Where is the money coming from?
So for the Cambridge program, they are using federal money. So they are using money from the American Rescue Plan to fund this particular program. It's a $22 million program. And they are also partnering with a nonprofit, the Cambridge Community Foundation, and there'll be some money coming from there as well.
And just for clarity, there's no lottery attached. It's just if you're eligible, you can get the direct payments.
Yeah, that's right. That's actually one of the interesting things about the Cambridge program. It's, according to the city, the first one in the country that is not using a lottery system. So some of the other pilots that we've seen elsewhere will use a lottery system where they'll select, a certain amount of people to kind of test this out and pilot it. What Cambridge is doing is just opening up the application. So whoever qualifies can sign up for this. They're taking applications on a rolling basis. So the applications will open up June 1st. and they'll be taking those applications on a rolling basis through about the end of July. But they're expecting, the first payments to start rolling out at the end of June. And
that's pretty soon.
Yeah, exactly. People can sign up just through the city's website. The specific link is cambridgema.gov/riseup.
You touched on this a bit during the conversation, but I want to ask you explicitly. This idea of giving money to people in need is not new, right? You have California officials who seem to be running with this idea. Philadelphia has a program for renters. Minneapolis, New Orleans, and we can't forget Chelsea, right? Can you just specifically talk about this trend where it seems like officials are starting to come around to the idea of people are poor, just give them money and trust that they'll make the right decisions for themselves. And that's it, right? That's it.
Yeah, that's really the idea. And you're right. This particular idea has been around for a really long time. I mean, advocates in this space have been talking about it for decades. Martin Luther King talked about this back in 1967.
Now, one of the answers, it seems to me, is a guaranteed annual income, a guaranteed minimum income for all people and for all families of our country.
Mm-hmm.
We saw in the 2020 presidential race, one of the Democratic candidates, Andrew Yang, this was one of his talking points. So the idea has been around for a long time. It's even been tested, a long time. So they've really picked up steam during the pandemic, where you had this massive infusion of money from the federal government direct to Americans.
Yep.
Stimulus checks. Right?
Yep.
You remember the stimulus checks during the
I
pandemic?
do.
Yeah.
I do.
Pretty nice.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty nice, right?
Yes.
That was huge. And what we saw with the stimulus checks during the pandemic, it was a huge, financial lifeline for so many Americans. I remember earlier in the pandemic, I was reporting on that, just basically asking people, hey, what do you plan to do with your stimulus checks? The answers were so interesting because a lot of it mirrors what the research has found with these guaranteed income programs. People were using the money to pay bills, to pay basic expenses, groceries, food. So through those federal stimulus checks, the pandemic really showed what a guaranteed income program could look like.
Mm-hmm. Well, Zeninjor, where can people learn more about this program?
Well, you can read my story on WBUR.org.
Yup.
I, break down the program. And, for folks, in Cambridge who are interested in learning more and applying for that particular program, the city's website has more information as well as all the direct links you need to apply for that program. Again, June 1st is when the applications for that open up.
All right. Folks, if you're in Cambridge and you're listening and you feel like you're eligible, that's it. June 1st, the city's website. Was it cambridgema.gov, right? Yep,
cambridgema.gov/riseup. All one word.
All right, sign up and get your money. Zeninjor, this has been a pleasure. So glad to have you on The Common, and we would love to have you back. We cannot wait. So please, come on back whenever you feel like it.
Thank you so much, Daryl. I'd love to come back.
That's WBUR senior business reporter Zeninjor Enwemeka. And that's our show for today. Thank you so much for listening to The Common. Hey, do you have any thoughts on guaranteed basic income? We would love to hear them. If you do, hit us up on Instagram at WBUR The Common or send us an email at thecommon@wbur.org. We would love to hear from you. In the meantime, I'm Daryl C. Murphy, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.